So good morning, everyone. Yeah, it will be in English because we have a visitor from the UK. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, how are you?
Or your Dutch should be good enough.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not. My languages aren't great, to be honest.
No, but I think it's no problem for the rest, and otherwise talk in Dutch and we will translate it. Yeah, I'm very happy to meet you all here. You are all the winners of the Smart Sensor Challenge we had with Holland Contact and PropTech in the category Healthy Happy Living. It's quite a diverse category. So I think it will be an interesting discussion this morning to see if we can help our visitors to get a definition on how to create a healthy, happy living, because it's about communities, it's about light, it's about energy, it's about a lot of things. But maybe let's first start by introducing ourselves. So I'm Stephanie Duc, innovation strategist at Holland Contact and PropTech. And I would like to give the floor to René. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm René. I represent a company called SmartRent. SmartRent is a scale-up enterprise company from the United States that offers smart home solutions for the renter while giving the operator an enterprise platform to manage the assets that they have.
Okay, thank you. Gijs. Gijs? En we horen jou niet, Gijs.
My mic was off because it's a bit noisy here. Hi, I'm Gijs Leeuw. I'm co-founder of Area of People based in Utrecht in the Netherlands. Area of People is a company, and we turn residential buildings into micro villages. And we use our community service platform fueled by the power of self-organization among residents. So we offer real estate professionals a new and sustainable operating model. So we really look into how can we work together with residents to achieve a better operational efficiency in residential locations with challenging diverse dynamics, because locations are more complex, are bigger, and it's really hard to manage those kind of communities nowadays. So we help property managers and owners with that.
Okay, thanks, Gijs. Stijn, Nobi.
Hi, I'm Stijn Verhept. I represent Nobi, an Antwerp startup. Nobi is creating a smart lamp which can replace the existing lamp in a home and is able to detect falls of residents, start a two-way connection to the sons and daughters saying, did you fall down, send help, open the front door. So our mission is to keep people living at home for a longer and sustainable time.
Thanks, Stijn. Bas, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Bas van der Kolk. I'm owner of Akadir from Eindhoven. Akadir sees smart security and living as a utility service for every household in Holland. We develop easy-to-use and affordable social sensoring, especially focused on elderly people staying longer at home. So we have our own IoT platform, which we service elderly people and their families. And we also service with another service more digital connected people and also people who are able to use digital devices with a special service, IoT service aimed at security and social alarms. We are scaling up now, especially in the elderly market in Holland and also abroad in England and Germany at the moment.
Okay, thanks very much. Daniel. Oh, we can't hear you, Daniel. No, sorry, we can't hear you. No, I thought we heard some noise, but no. Okay, now let's continue, and then Daniel, let me know when you're available. Cliff, you have some problems as well with the audio or not?
Nope.
Yeah, we can hear you, Cliff. No, let's start, because I think there's a lot to say already with these participants. Yeah, healthy, happy living. Where to start? If you're an owner of a house, or if you are owner of several houses, where to start to create that? Who wants to take the floor?
I would like to give a head start. Oh.
Okay, you go ahead.
Okay, Gijs, and then afterwards.
Well, in our how we look at sensoring with our community service platform is that humans are one of the best sensors you can have. They can talk, they can report on how they feel. So it could be a really easy start to start with the people, and then look at how they live, talk with them, and then put sensoring around them to help them achieve a more happy and healthy life. So from our perspective, you should always start with the people.
What are the main needs? What is one problem you see?
Security is a big issue. You can develop a building that is really secure with really good locks, but when you have people who forget to lock the door, the central door, or put the door in a moving stand, they dismantle the door so they can move their stuff, and they let the door open the whole night. That's a really problem with security.
Bas, I think. Yeah, sorry.
It's in the. You should really look at the behavior of people, how they interact with your building, and.
Yeah. To change that behavior, to help them. Bas, can you elaborate on that? Because that's your department.
Yeah, we mainly focus on single households. So also complexes, communities. But as you look at the elderly market in Holland, it's developing rapidly. We're going to 2.4 million elderly people living longer at home. So that's our main focus with Leef Samen. That's our label, living together in English. And we are aiming at very easy to use. I think that's one of the main things, easy to use sensors and applications, of course. That's one thing. It has to be affordable. It has to work always. We deliver our services on an internet connection, so the internet connection must be good. Luckily, in Holland, we have a big fiber rollout, so the fiber networks are for our infrastructure important. So that are three main things, I think, and the most important thing is what Gijs also says, is the people themselves, the users of the platform. Eventually, they don't have to be bothered with technical things. It has to work, and it has to fulfill a need. I think that's very important.
If I may elaborate to that, Bas, thank you. You just mentioned the internet. It's becoming more and more relevant that internet is just as important as water to a building, and especially housing associations or corporations have to start seeing this. And what we need today, we may guess, but we have no clue what we will need or want in 5 years' time. So it's important to have a platform in place and use standard connections. We use Z-Wave as an example. We have an investment from the Alexa fund. So we provide whatever devices a tenant or a housing corporation may want, but the tenant, him or herself, may want an Alexa speaker or who knows what, and we don't know what they will want in 2 years' time. So it's important to have a good platform in place like you would have good plumbing or good electricity. And this is an investment that the housing corporations have to look into. And you don't want to be caught into a product lock-in. You need to be able to connect a Nest thermostat and a Assa Abloy lock or a Salto lock or whatever. Whatever's the best at the moment or the most convenient. And the whole Internet of Things is something that I think, especially housing corporations, haven't hooked on to yet.
Yeah. I would like to give the floor to Daniel to introduce himself. I think his audio is working now. No. Sorry, Daniel.
Maybe try sign language, Daniel. You know that?
Ja, precies. Klinkt als... Cliff? No, I don't think so as well. Yeah, okay. So what you're saying, Renee, is it's the household companies here who don't invest enough in IoT to get it accessible.
The commercial residential companies, they are doing it because, you know, if you buy a new apartment, you expect it to be smart. And especially the new generation, but also the old generation, they need smart locks and smart devices, even if they sometimes don't know it, to provide supported living or delivery of packages. And the commercial world is doing this already, but because I think the housing corporations, the social housing corporations in the Netherlands, they have a monopoly and they are not really pushed to innovate. For example, a thing that's happening in the United States now is self-guided tours. So by an app, you can verify somebody based on their driver's license and a selfie and give them a time slot to enter an apartment to go have a look. Why would a person from a housing corporation need to go with them and only in office hours when they can do it whenever they want?
And Stijn, is it different in Belgium, or do you have the same barriers there?
I think the same issues with like a stable internet connection exist as well. Internet is becoming more and more important. Luckily, we have good internet connections, but it's not always reliable. And if you do, for example, fault detection, like we do, it's very important to get a notification out. You don't want somebody lying on the floor, having an alert say, okay, we're contacting your family, and no contact is being made. So that's why we integrate both Wi-Fi, but also a 4G module. So in case the normal regular internet is down, we're still able to get the event out and notify the family or a service desk or an alarm desk.
Hello.
That's very good you do that, Stijn. We do that also. But if you look at the investment you have to make per household to roll out IoT for elderly people, well, you have to make a bigger investment. So it doubles your investment when you have to connect a 4G router next to a Wi-Fi router, and then you also have the sensoring and the platform. So what we see with housing corporations in Holland, they are willing to invest more and more, but you don't. If you look at the investment per household, you talk about, I think, about 150 euros per household for smoke sensoring, fall detection, panic button, dwaling, ik weet even het Engelse woord niet. Wandering, and a burglar alarm. And that's especially when you take into account that about the half of all the elderly people who are 80 years or older don't have an active internet connection at this moment. That's pretty much. If you want to scale up in around 2.4 million houses, this effect will decline eventually, but it's now, as we speak now, it's a problem. It's still a problem.
All the functions you mentioned, like burglary alarm, smoke detection, all that is contained in our lamp. It is definitely not a cheap product, but if you consider the alternative, so we want to keep people living at home for a longer period of time. There is a big shortage of nurses. I know this is affecting in Holland as well, in the Netherlands as well. Elderly care homes are very expensive. We talk in Belgium, it's 65 euros a day for the person itself. The government is sponsoring the other half of it, so it's a big cost. If you can compare that to, and the people want to stay at home for longer. So the happy living, if you ask elderly people, they prefer to stay at home. It's mostly their family who is very worried that what will happen if they fall down. He or she is living alone. It's not. It wouldn't be responsible anymore to keep them living at home for an extended period of time. But with smart devices, this can be our device, but also other sensors, if we're able to extend that period of time and keep them at home for a longer, while ensuring their safety, it will come at a cost, but compare it to the alternative, it will be much, much lower.
Yeah, so the business model is there, you're saying, but it's just, I think, a matter of funding, because that's from different...
Sorry, go ahead, Stijn.
Ideally, the government should sponsor a part of that, and that's not the fact. They see the metrics they get from the elderly care homes, and they sponsor that. They sponsor the nurses, etc. There's a pilot project in Belgium now that they start to sponsor some apps that are able to prove that they are good for your health. Ideally, they should invest as well in devices, sensors that keep people living home for an extended period of time. But that's still difficult today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same in Belgium, but who should pick up this bill, regardless of how high it is? So you have the housing corporation, you have the caregivers, and you have the individual person themselves. And I think all three are dancing around, who should pick up the bill.
There's one missing actor, and that is also the insurance companies. So people pay, they pay for insurance. You have to take into account if somebody falls and they lie on the floor for 4 or 5 hours, the damage that has been done to their body is much higher, and the aftercare in a hospital will be much, much longer. So take that cost into account and invest it into prevention or getting help in time at their home. Yeah. But you need a lot of data in order to prove your case. If you can show the insurance companies and the government data of we did this in 50,000 homes and we were able to shorten the time period that people are in a hospital by X%, then you talk money, and that's something they listen to.
In the Netherlands, we have a big insurance company called Achmea. Yeah. They have a corporate startup called Homies, and they have done exactly this. So they were paying a lot of money to the big companies like Verisure, etc., for home alarm systems, and they set up a very smart system called Homies, whereby they also use WhatsApp groups, etc., and that way they're saving money that they would be.
Exactly.
So it's, but so far we especially on big projects, it's hard to give somebody the bill.
I think the most important thing in the whole business case is the user itself. When an insurance company or a smart platform is pushing the service to the customer, it's not working. Customer has to see the benefits for his or herself. That's, I think, very important. And in Holland, we see especially the local government, also the municipalities as a stakeholder from the WMO. So they invest one time in a rollout of our sensor platform. It's a one-time investment. And then the business case is that the user itself pays for the monthly fee. And in our case, it's €7.50 per month. And we see that when we roll out, about 60-70% of the people are active in the platform. They stay at our platform. And that's in the business case, it's very important for us. It's our business case. But if you talk about co-investment of housing companies, municipalities, insurance companies, it's co-financing, and it's not a business case, it's a value case. And the value case, in my opinion, isn't there yet. It's very difficult when you take out costs from one company and you take them over to another company. you get, of course, discussion about where's my business model in this value case. And that's a problem, I think.
Yeah. Gijs, I can imagine that you have to deal with this as well.
Yeah, what I hear is what Bas also said is you need the people to trust you and your service and your technology to use it, or you just can't push stuff into their home that they will eventually have to use. So adoption is a really big problem that we see. And not only with sensoring and stuff, but also with shared cars and also mobility providers. There's in Holland that what we saw is that there's most of the time there's a lack of trust between the owner of your house and the renter, because they had bad service. So why would the owner invest in my home, invest in my life to make it more happy? So we really work on getting more trust between parties, between the renter, the tenant, and the guy who rents the house out. So to have a good adoption on all kinds of solutions for people in homes. So that's one of the things that we especially work on when you want to roll out all kinds of services in homes.
And what is then the most highest adopted service on your platform?
At the moment, well, first of all, the only service that there most of the times is property management. That's a service that is delivered by a property manager, and either to use their processes like using the right repair request process that is most valuable for the property manager, and that's the most efficient for the property manager. We have an option of 85% that uses our repair maintenance module instead of calling to the property manager or send them an email. So adoption on those internal processes of all kinds of service providers is really important, and therefore we use communities to how do you call it, aanbieden?
Provide.
Sorry, yeah,
Offer them.
yeah.
Provide.
Thank you, Bas and Stephanie. To provide them the internal processes of all kinds of service partners on our platform.
Yeah. I see we've reached our time. Maybe good to have a brief summary. I can do it, but the two things I think is necessary for a healthy, happy living is, first of all, start with the user. I hear Bas say it, I hear Gijs say it. Yeah, I think Stijn and René also probably agree to that. But also funding. So who picks up the bill?
Yes, and I think
somebody wants to add.
The parties have to don't hesitate, start and make small use cases. Start small, and I always say and big. I think that's we have to scale up, and we're doing well.
Yeah.
But
Start small and big. I think that's good to create the healthy, happy living. Now, thanks you all. It was quick, but I think it was a very good discussion. Unfortunately, our UK partner left, so we kunnen het allemaal weer in Nederlands doen eigenlijk. En nee, dank jullie allemaal voor jullie tijd. En hopelijk heeft dit nog weer een mooi vervolg. Bedankt. Fijne dag.
Dank je wel.
Bye.